Hey teddy bears, so this is our craft portion of the day. So today I told you in circle time that we're going to do a fun little backpack craft. So here's the example that Miss Teresa did for us. And parents, you will just need, and I sent this, there we go, just a Cheerio or cereal box, and just take the flaps and just cut them off, just like that. If you don't have this, if you have like a goldfish box or anything like that, that would work too. So, we're going to do that in a little bit. But for right now, we're going to talk about what we're going to do with our backpacks. And that is, we're going to pretend to go camping. Have you ever actually been camping, teddy bears? Really? I'll tell you a secret. Miss Angela has never been camping before. I know, it's crazy. I want to go someday. But if you are in the woods and you're going camping, what kind of animals might you see? Could you see bugs? Yeah. Could you see, frogs? Yeah. What about deer? Has anybody ever seen a deer while they're camping? That would be fun. Birds. If you're out at night, you might hear an owl go, hoo, hoo, hoo. Let's see what other animals do. Wow, you see, if we were near a lake or a pond, we could see fish or maybe even a turtle. Yeah. Speaking of turtles, you remember our friend, we haven't done this rhyme in a few weeks, but the little turtle, everybody get out your little turtle. There's a little turtle in his shell and there's his little head. There was a little turtle and he lived in a box. He swam in a puddle and he climbed on the rocks. He sniffed at the mosquito and he sniffed at the flea. He snapped at the minnow and he snapped at me. He caught that mosquito and he caught that flea and he caught that minnow, but he didn't catch me. Good job, guys. All right, so we're going to hear all about our story of Curious George. You all ever read Curious George? Yeah, he's a silly monkey, right? Well, in this book, Curious George is going to go camping. So, this is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. This weekend, George and his friend, the man with the yellow hat, had special plans. They were going camping. At the campsite, the man with the yellow hat unpacked their gear while George looked at all the tents. He saw tents for big families and one just the right size for a puppy. There were even tents on wheels. Would you like to help me put up the tent? The man asked. George was happy to help. It would not be hard to set up a tent, he thought. But it wasn't really that easy. George, why don't you fill our bucket with water at the pump, his friend suggested. We'll need it by our campfire later, wouldn't we? Roast marshmallows. Marshmallows. George loved marshmallows. He couldn't wait to try them roasted. Now don't wander off and get into trouble, the man warned. But George did not hear him. He was already gone. At the pump, George worked the handle up and down. Soon his bucket was full, and on the way back down the trail, he saw a family packing up. George watched a girl pour a bucket of water on the campfire. The fire was sizzled out. George thought that looked like fun. He poured his bucket of water on the next campfire. Hey, yelled a camper, we weren't finished with that yet. The camper began to chase George, but George didn't mean to cause trouble. Now he only wanted to hide. He ran into the forest as fast as he could, but the camper's footsteps followed close behind. George ran faster and faster. The footsteps came closer and closer until suddenly they were passing George. Why, it's not the camper chasing George at all. It was a deer. What fun to run with a deer. Forgetting all about the campers and the marshmallows, George ran after the deer. But a little monkey cannot run as fast as a deer in the woods. Before long, George was lost and all alone. He felt tired and stopped to rest. At first, he was worried. It was very far from camp, but there was lots of other animals to keep him company. He saw a lizard sunning on a rock and a squirrel chatting in a tree. Then he saw the tail of a black and white kitty peeking out from under a bush. He was curious. Would the kitty like to play? George gently pulled the kitty out. But it wasn't a kitty. It was a skunk, and it was scared. The skunk lifted its tail and sprayed. Phew! That spray smelled awful. The animals tried to get away. George wanted to get away too, but he couldn't. The smell was all over him. How would he ever get rid of this awful smell, he wondered. Too bad he could not take it back in the woods. And then George had an idea. He could wash the smell off in the creek. George jumped into the cold water. He splashed and scrubbed, but he was still smelly, and now he was wet too. What could he do? George thought and thought. If he climbed up a tree to dry off, would the smell blow away? No. Even dry and high up in the trees, George did not smell better. Poor George. He wished he hadn't wandered so far from camp. He wished he was roasting marshmallows with his friends. Suddenly, George heard footsteps heading towards him. Someone was coming. I was the forest animals, but they ran right by him. They had seen something scary, and George saw it too. It was a fire. George had gotten into trouble for putting out one fire, but this fire wasn't in the campground. This was an emergency. Quickly, George climbed down the tree and grabbed his bucket. He scooped it full of water in the creek. Then, being careful not to spill, he climbed back up and swung from branch to branch through the trees. When George got close enough to the fire, he reached down and poured the water on the flames. Out went the fire with a big hiss. Just then, George's friends rushed out of the forest with a ranger. George, he called, I was afraid you would be here. It was a good thing you were here, George, said the ranger. We saw smoke from the campground, but you put this fire out just in time. George was glad to help, and the man with the yellow hat was glad to see that George was safe. But he had a funny look on his face. George, he asked, what's that smell? Back at the campsite, George's friend helped him get rid of the awful smell. After a strange bath in tomato juice, George smelled fine. Then the man with the yellow hair invited the ranger to cook dinner with them over their very own small campfire. Fires can be nice if you're careful, said the ranger. George agreed, especially for roasting marshmallows. Have you ever roasted marshmallows? Yeah? Was it fun? If you have, I love roasting marshmallows. I like to get mine all dark and toasty. All right, friends. So we're going to make our backpack. So we have our box, and then you can do construction paper if you want, or if you have wrapping paper, you can use wrapping paper. I have wrapping paper, so I'm going to attempt to wrap mine. And I'll tell you something. Miss Angela is not that great at wrapping things. Oh. But we're going to do our best, because that's all you can ever do is just your best. And that will be good enough. So, this part actually might be something that mommies and daddies do. So, let's see. I had this all figured out until, and then my phone died when I was filming last time. And so I had it almost completed and was just putting on the handles when my phone died. So this is my second time making this. I'm just glad I had enough wrapping paper. But that was a mistake, and mistakes happen, and you know what? You learn from them, so. Miss Angela learned to always make sure that my phone is charged. So, we are going to go ahead and start. And we'll start by wrapping this, just like this. So, I love this wrapping paper. It's so pretty and looks like a rainbow. And I have a feeling that my backpack will be commandeered by my middle girl, Bridget. And commandeered is a big word, but it just means that when something is taken for, somebody takes something for their own. It's not, in this way, it's not a bad thing, because I don't really mind if Bridget takes it and uses it. But you should always ask before you do that. Miss Angela is also not the best rapper. I think I already said that, but also not the best cutter. But that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be what you enjoy. So, that'll work. And if you're just doing construction paper, which would be equally as pretty, because then you can draw all over it. You have stickers, you can put stickers on it. If you have magazines and you want to look through the magazines and cut out pictures from the magazines, that would be really cool too. I tell you, if I can just slap my tape, oh no, that me or Miss Natalie and I would love to see your backpacks when you're done. So please, parents, send us pictures of the backpacks if you do them, because I'm sure they're all going to be so much fun. I made my little sizes too big, so it's too much wrapping paper. So I'm having to do a little cutting right now. So if you're just doing construction paper, or if you want, you know what might be really cool is if you have butcher paper too, and you could really draw all over it. But if you wanted, you could get some, if you had construction paper, you could get your watercolors, because Miss Angela's going to get out watercolors, and if you have watercolors, it's going to be a lot of fun. And watercolor, a forest scene. You could make some trees. You could draw your family out camping. Maybe draw some forest animals that you might want to see. That's the last of that tape. Thankfully, Miss Angela's prepared. Excuse me. Should have coughed in my elbow. So, for this part, you're just going to kind of fold it down. There we go. And then we'll just take the tape and tape it down to the inside. So like I said, if you just have construction paper and you just wanted to draw all over it, or get out your watercolors or markers or whatever you want to do, I'm sure that would be lovely, and just make it uniquely your own. And please, please, please send us those pictures if you think of it. Okay, so here it is, all covered up. And for me, like I said, I have this little cutout picture of a girl, and like I said, this is my second take. So there she is. I'd already started to watercolor her. And I have some fishies. I have a yellow fish. I'm gonna put the yellow, I'm gonna pretend that this blue I have here is a stream. And I'm gonna put the fishies in the stream. And that'll be cute. There we go. And then I have a turtle, and the turtle can go over here. Hopefully he's not going to snap at me. And I have some beautiful clouds that I can put up in the sky. Oh goodness. Goodness gracious. That's going to be beautiful. You know what? I actually like this second box that I did a lot more than I liked the first one I was doing. So there you go. Sometimes starting over ends up looking a lot better than it did the first time. Alright, so here's what mine looks like. And then going to get my watercolors out. And parents, when we watercolor at school, we open it and we have, of course, the little water and stuff, and then we get a paper towel and we put it kind of here. And we'll set it here, that way they can, if they need to, at any point, if they have too much water, they can do that. Kiddos, remember, when you are watercoloring, you have to put the brush in the water in between colors, because you do not want to mix your colors because then they don't look as pretty. All right, so I did her shirt last time, so now I'm going to do her hair, and I'm going to give her brown hair like I have. Here we go. Pretty. And then while I'm talking about this, we have another Zoom call tomorrow at 10:30. That's Friday at 10:30. And it seriously is my favorite time of the week. And I think last time the color scavenger hunt was really fun. So Natalie and I will figure out something else fun to do today. And then next week will be our very last Zoom call. And we'll have 2 special guests come on to that Zoom call. So I'm going to go to a new color, so I'm going to get some more paint. I'm going to dip it in the water. And let's see, I'm going to color her pants. And her pants are going to be yellow. So, yes, next week will be our very last Zoom call. Crazy to think about. And we're going to have a special guest come on and talk to the kiddos and introduce themselves to you parents. And hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. And I will dip to water because I'm going to get purple to do her headband. Do a fun way to end out our last Zoom call. And we'll have more details on that, of course, next week. This week, I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but we'll talk about it, and I'm sure we'll have something fun. We may read a story or do a shape hunt or something like that. And it'll be so much fun. I really do look forward to it. It's my favorite time of the week. To get to see all the kiddos' faces. I'm going to do orange shoes because orange is fun for shoe color. All right. So, I'll go ahead and end this, but definitely parents, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, please, 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 if you think about it and you have a spare minute, send us these pictures because we would love to see them and see how creative you were and your kiddos were. All right, so let's say a quick prayer and then Zoom call tomorrow at 10:30, and I look forward to it. All right. Dear God, thank you for the teddy bears. Thank you for this time. Thank you for camping, the camping fun. And we just love you and we thank you for everything you've given us. In Jesus' name, amen. And you know what? Actually, Miss Angela just remembered. We have our backpack, but we don't have the way to actually put it on our back. So, isn't that funny how you'll forget to do stuff? So, if you have ribbon, and cut it out long enough so that you think the kiddo could put it on your back. If you have hot glue guns, this would be a really good thing to hot glue. If you don't, staple might be good if you have a stapler. If not, you can do just tape. Obviously, it won't really hold that well, but you gotta make do. You gotta do what you gotta do. So anyways, that is really the last thing for the video. And I hope y'all all have a fantastic day. And I cannot wait to see you tomorrow on the Zoom call. Bye.